This is a video about President Obama, whose biography indicates that he was probably gay, may still be gay, is probably still gay. Here, his former classmate at Occidental College describes President Obama's roommate, a Pakistani national named Shandu. They were on campus thought of as a gay couple that were very dandy dressing, very wealthy because Shandu had a lot of money. Here he describes their relationship.
Now, a couple of other things here. You talk about his friend Mohammed Hassan Shandu,
Yes.
his roommate from Pakistan, his roommate at Occidental. I'll tell you about that in a second. But you say they drove up, they drove around in a BMW?
Oh, yeah. It was. I remember that was one of the funny points of that visit. Is Shandu was very proud of that car. I mean, it was very materialistic, and he was very proud of it. Participant in our debates, but you could see he took great pride in that car. A couple. That's how I and Barack Obama. They looked like a wealthy gay couple. He and Barack Obama. They looked like a wealthy gay couple.
I'm just repeating that because it's interesting that his former classmate had this impression of President Obama. They were all Marxist, leftist, and I'm not even against that. The idea that he's gay is actually very interesting. It's nice to think that. It's not that it's a bad thing. It's just that him being gay and yet not admitting that is also interesting. So here,
Secretly a great gentleman, and I thought they were both multimillionaires.
Well, where do you think, or where did was it discussed at the time between you and your girlfriend? Like, where did they get that kind of money?
I just assumed he was born with it. I didn't really investigate it at the time.
Yeah, no, okay. So that's interesting. Now,
But it is
yeah.
my explanation, Steve, for why Obama was a charismatic big man on campus when he was at Occidental, and why he was kind of a zero at Columbia University. And I think the money from Hassan dried up, and so he couldn't project that sort of charismatic image that he had at Oxy anymore.
so that's an interesting idea of President Obama. We don't really think of him that way. Here is a picture of him with Shandu. You see they were holding hands in the picture. Oh no, this isn't Shandu. This is another. The man he's holding hands with in this picture is another alleged lover. That's just from the. There's President Obama in the White House, and he's there pictured with Reggie Love, who's called his body man, who's thought of as a possible boyfriend. This is President Obama's transgender nanny who raised him when he was known as Barry Soetoro in Indonesia.
Evie's meager existence belies a startling truth. She was once nanny to President Barack Obama. Evie says she's always been proud that the person she cared for, drove to school, and cooked for ended up being #1 in the world. The future president was just 8 years old at the time. In the late 1960s, his mother, Ann Dunham, married her second husband and moved to Indonesia. Dunham was impressed by Evie's cooking ability and offered her a job.
So President Obama was raised in a very Marxist household. He was that's his father-in-law or his stepfather, an Indonesian national, and his nanny was a transgender. Here's one of the researchers, Dr. Jerome Corsi. I don't support his research, but it's just interesting some of the things he says.
Okay, well, first of all, the whole issue that I'm investigating, just to get right to it, has been the issue that Obama is homosexual.
President Obama, he just said.
This has been a rumor since I started investigating Obama back in 2006.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I never had any of the evidence for it, so it was never anything without full evidentiary ability to prove a statement like that. It's not something you would publish. What's changed is that in recent months, members of Trinity United Church who know Obama, Obama's personally, have begun to talk.
So when President Obama was at Trinity Church in Chicago, it was allegedly a gay church with a gay pastor, Jeremy Wright, and Donald Young was the choir director at the time. He ended up being murdered. Here is his name is Larry Sinclair. He alleges that President Obama and he had in Chicago a gay affair with the use of crack cocaine. He says that Sinclair says that he actually hired President Obama for sexual favors and drugs. Here's
In the fall of 2007, September 2007, I contacted the presidential campaign of Barack Obama to request solely that Senator Obama publicly correct his stated drug use record to reflect his use of crack cocaine with me in November of 1999.
So he's alleging that they used drugs in Chicago and that he performed fellatio on him. Here's a description of President Obama's Marxist mentor.
Is the issue of Frank Marshall Davis, right? And that's obviously the most relevant. Frank Marshall Davis was very close to Barack Obama, our president, in our president's adolescence in the latter 1970s.
This mentor here, President Obama is describing.
At the time, a fairly well-known poet named Frank Marshall Davis, who had moved to Hawaii and lived there. And so I have a discussion with him about the kinds of frustrations I'm having, and he sort of schools me on that I should get used to these frustrations.
So these frustrations included a poem that President Obama wrote about his relationship, but it describes in the poem the man-boy relationship that he may have had. Pop takes another shot, neat, points out the same amber stain on his shorts that I've got on mine, and makes me smell his smell coming from me. And this relationship is ambiguous. That erotic description here is the novel that Davis, whom President Obama was just describing, wrote. It's an erotic novel by his mentor. So here is just a quick summary of the man who wrote this book is the man described here.
So while Associate Press would never dare mention the word communist, groups like this confirm the closeness of the relationship to Obama.
So they had a very close relationship. To move on, Sinclair describes his relationship with Obama later.
I had hired them both for November 5th and November 6th of 1999. On November 6, 1999, I asked the limo driver, whose name I now reveal for the first time, Jagir Aramit Mutani, if he knew anyone who would like to socialize and show me Chicago. Mr. Mutani understood that I was looking for someone who knew Chicago and would enjoy socializing. Mr. Mutani said he knew someone who was a friend of his. On November 6, 1999, after picking me up at the hotel in Gurnee, and this is significant, Mr. Mutani used his cell phone to make a call. That call was made to then Illinois State Senator Barack Obama to set up an introduction between myself and Senator Obama. Upon arriving at
Larry Sinclair was a younger, more attractive man at the time.
The bar and exiting the limo, Senator Obama was standing next to Mr. Mutani, and I was introduced to Senator Obama by name. Later that evening in a bar which I believe was called Alibis, and I state believe because I have failed so far to get Citigroup to provide the credit card receipts that has the actual name. I mentioned I could use a line or two to wake up. Senator Obama asked me if I was referring to Coke, and I stated I was. After stating I was, Obama stated he could purchase cocaine for me and then made a telephone call. This too is significant, from a cell phone to a presently unknown individual, during which Senator Obama arranged the cocaine purchase. Senator Obama and I then departed the bar in my limousine and proceeded to an unknown location where Senator Obama exited the limousine with $250, which was provided to him by me. Returned a short while later with an 8-ball of cocaine, which he gave to me. I did ingest a couple of lines of cocaine, and shortly thereafter, Senator Obama produced a glass cylinder pipe and packet of crack cocaine from his pocket. Obama then smoked the crack cocaine. I performed fellatio on Senator Obama in the limousine during the time Senator Obama was smoking crack cocaine, after which I had the driver take me to my hotel, the Comfort Suites, Gurnee, Illinois.
In the next video, we'll explore President Obama's gay lifestyle further.